What's up, Buttercup? I'm assuming most of you just came from Cade's channel. This is going to be part 2. We're going to be talking about what to do for an NFT artist, how to maintain demand once you actually start making sales, once you're building a community, how to stay relevant and keep adding value to your holders.
Okay, so after your collection sells out or you make a few sales, you get some people popping your Discord, what can you do to actually, what is your next step? What do you do? Do you make another collection? Do you start a YouTube channel? Like, what's the next step? And so what you want to do is you have your foundation set. What do you do next? The next 3 steps are going to be the most important thing you do ever. Because if you get this opportunity, don't let it slip. Don't do the wrong thing. We're going to tell you the right things to do.
So I think it's important after you release your first NFTs, not to just jump right into making more NFT art, but rather establish what type of value you can bring to the table besides your NFT art. So for me, for example, I sold out of my first collection. Instead of just starting to make new art right away, I thought about what else can I bring to the table? I can teach, I can inspire, I can be a voice of encouragement for other artists. I can connect artists with collectors. I can bring so much more value to the table. And in doing that, it makes your NFTs more valuable.
And when you do stuff that's actually helpful and you're making content that's not purely just about you and you're actually giving back something that needs to be answered and people are actually wondering these things, that's when something like SolSea resharing your post, like an entire NFT platform, resharing your post, talking about you on their Instagram and stuff. And then for me, all these random projects and CEOs reaching out to do interviews with me because of the kind of content I was putting out that actually was necessary and like actually needed. You know, if it's not actually needed and you're making all this content and none of it's picking up on the algorithm, that's the answer as to why your videos are not getting picked up by the algorithm.
Just to point out, the video that went viral for me that kind of kicked me off in starting the success was a video being helpful. It was a video teaching other artists how to do the exact same thing. I think that's another really important thing to note is what's so cool about the NFT space is there isn't really like gatekeeping right now. There's such a low barrier to entry and everyone is sharing the knowledge, which I think is amazing because just like you said, we can all make it. There is room for all these artists to sell their work. And so just keep that in mind. Like, you don't have to keep all these secrets to yourself. You will probably be bigger and better if you share your secrets and share what you're doing because you're providing so much value other than just your art.
And so the video that kickstarted my YouTube channel was a video about Head DAO NFT, which was a project that just exploded and some crazy shit happened basically and went down. And I made a video within like an hour of it coming out. And so when I figured out that was something hot topic that like people wanted to hear about, because there's not really videos about like market updates and news things that are happening that don't happen, like they all happen days and days after it happened to where it's almost not really helpful anymore. And so I talk about projects and things that are happening like literally within 24 hours and then I pull out what's actually like necessary to know, not the little stupid details, and I give you guys that in the form of a video. And that's actually valuable because no one's really providing that before me. And so that's one reason my channel picked up so quickly, so fast.
Yeah, I think that's really important is you have to kind of be self-aware. Just look at the market and make sure that what you're giving there's actually a market for. Like before I started my TikTok, I looked at TikTok and I looked at every NFT artist that was on there and there was like 3 and they were only on the Ethereum blockchain. So I knew in my head, okay, there is not a single person talking about Solana NFTs on TikTok. I don't have to have the best art. Like I just have to be first. I just have to be unique and I have to provide something that people haven't heard yet. And I did that. I started making videos and within a couple weeks, one of them exploded because I just think there was nothing out there like that. So if all you're kind of doing is looking at what other people are doing and then making the exact same videos, like you can't, you know, expect something to blow up because people have already seen it before.
And then we're going to talk about just quickly imposter syndrome because it's something that at least I've dealt with. I'm not sure if you have with content and stuff. For me, I had imposter syndrome for most of my life. And the way you combat imposter syndrome, because that's something I haven't felt in a long time now, which is crazy for me to hear. My inner child is beaming inside because my whole life I've been such a dweeb and that's how I looked at myself. And the only way you can get out of that mindset is you don't wake up one day and just believe in yourself. We talked about this in the first video. You build that self-esteem by doing things, trying things, going out of your comfort zone, and then coming back alive, right? Most of the time you're going to make it in terms of life and death. So if you come back alive, you made it, you succeeded, you come home with the trophy, that builds over time and you do something like take a leap of faith one day and you try something, even if it fails, you've got all that experience now. And so to kind of knock out imposter syndrome, you learn by doing, right? My channel took 12 years. It literally started in 2010. The channel that if you're watching the first one on, you can go all the way back to 2010, and then there's a second channel from videos like a year before that. So I did all the things. I did every single type of video until I found one that people weren't making, and then I started to make those videos. I got more confident. I talked to a CEO and I was like, holy shit. And then now I'm more confident there. Now I have the balls now to talk to these people and not be scared to hold my own. And remember that if people are reaching out to you, especially, they're reaching out because they have a reason. There's something that you have that they want more of or they need, and that is something to be confident about and to remember that. And I know for a lot of people, when they get an opportunity, they're like, fuck, and they kind of act all timid, but they're coming to you for a reason, and remember that.
What you said kind of reminded me of just follow your knowing. If there's something that you want to make and you think is incredible, but you're not seeing anyone do it, and you're like, I wonder why, like maybe there's a reason for that. It probably just hasn't been done before, and just do it. That's where I feel like that confidence comes from, when you go against the grain and you actually do something that you feel is right, like in your heart, in your soul, and it works, then you're like, oh, I'm meant to do this. Like I remember when I first started getting into the NFT space, your Discord was the first one I popped into, and I said like, hey, what's up? I'm Sydney. I'm thinking of releasing this like on this new marketplace SolSea that I found on Solana. And every single person was like, no, don't do Solana. Nothing's on there. Only go with ETH, like da-da-da-da. And I looked at Matt and we were like, I feel like this could be something. I feel like Solana could take off. I feel like SolSea could be a cool platform. And Matt was just like, no, do it. Like, who cares? Just do your own thing. And I'm so glad that I did that now, because now I've not only helped myself, but I've helped so like hundreds and thousands of artists that couldn't afford to do it on ETH just like me. And I showed them a way of like, oh, there is a different route to get into this space and to do it more affordably. And I would have never done that, and all these artists would have never been helped either if I just like listened to everyone else said, and I didn't kind of take that leap of faith. So
when you did do that and you did decide to disregard the Joy's Kingdom community,
not to like hate on
kidding. That was a long time ago. All right, we've learned a lot of things since then. I've gotten into SolSea for art especially, but when you did that and you went against the grain and you trusted your gut, were you scared? Were you nervous and anxious anyway while you're doing it? Did you push through it anyway, or did you just like fight away your anxiety first, or how did that work?
So I mean, I guess I was a little nervous. Honestly, in my head, I was thinking this is a long-term play. Like maybe Solana and SolSea will pop in a couple years. So I went into it I was like, who cares? If I make no sales for 2 years, who cares? If I make no sales after 2 years, like it doesn't matter. I kind of was just doing it for fun. And I think that's why I was able to just go against what everyone else said, because I wasn't like, well, I need to make money and everyone's making money this way, so I'm going to do that. I was fully like, no, I'm going to try something new. I'm going to sell my stuff for $10. I'm going to try it on this new platform that I just opened like a month ago, because why not? So I guess I was kind of nervous, but it was more so I was just like excited to do something different.
Connecting with NFT artists and connecting with other people doing the things you're doing, I think it's one of the most important things you could do to actually build who you are in the space and become sort of well-known maybe one day, is to buy other people's art if you can, you know. And a lot of people's art isn't expensive. When I bought Sydney's, it was $22 I think I paid for all of them, or like each one was $20 or something. And I tweeted about it. I've done that ever since. Fidel everywhere, at Fidel everywhere. If you guys don't know me, he's one of the most prominent NFT photographers in the space. When he bought my NFT, he tweeted about it. That was my launch pad. I was ready to go. I prepared for success. We'll talk about that in a second too. Preparing for success, like you're gonna go viral. And fuck, we were actually supposed to talk about it in the first video too. So we'll just do like that segment and then like re-edit it later. And yeah, and so supporting other artists, talking about why you bought the piece, what you liked about them, that can also give them a little bit of confidence to go maybe do the same, or just to continue what they're doing. And you never know when one little tweak can literally change someone's life. Fidel changed my whole life in one afternoon. And the crazy part is I have a video of me freaking out when it first happened, and maybe I'll release that one day. But you have no idea like what support really can do and what good karma really does. I think it's a form of active manifestation. I think everything's kind of a form of active manifestation if you're intentional about it. And when you buy their art, it's not to be like, oh, this guy's gonna follow me back now. Like really genuinely buy the art because it's something you fuck with, and maybe their brand is something you're excited to be part of, and try and say, what can I learn from everyone in this space? And that's a great way to go in, because that mindset is how you're going to go to the moon long term, right? Sydney's mindset in the beginning, if I sell, great. If I don't, great. That's the mindset you have to have. If you go in with the mentality, I have to sell it tomorrow because I have to make money in NFTs, you'll never make money in NFTs. Almost nobody makes money in NFTs. Almost every single person on earth loses money in NFTs. That's not a joke. All the people you see on Twitter, most of them are full of shit. most of them are full of shit, and that's just the truth.
So if you watched the last video and you set everything up and you were prepared, you got all your socials, the most important thing to just keep that demand and maintain your community is just use them. Be consistent, be active. If you have a Discord, actually use it. I know so many artists who like start it and then they don't actually use it. These are such amazing tools to connect with people, to talk with people, learn about their lives. So just be consistent in using them. Like, it doesn't take that much time to show people that you care. And that's very different than just, you know, putting out a tweet. This is like, hey everyone, but actually asking someone, how is your day? Like, how are you doing? Are you doing something creative? What are you excited about this week? Like, that's what makes the difference.
And if you want examples on what a good Discord looks like, I'm not talking shit, but SO Visuals and the Joy's Kingdom are examples of how you do it right, because that's what we're focused on. Like, that's literally why we're making this video, because we're good at it and we know what to do. And the only difference between us and someone who doesn't have it is literally we just started, right? We just started, we just did it. And I didn't know what I was doing in the beginning. I didn't fucking know anything when I first started, just like literally a few months ago. And that's how everyone is in this space. Everyone's just started NFTs. There's no one who's literally been here for that long. You know, the people who bought CryptoPunks, I've been in NFT since 2017. Shut the fuck up. You bought a picture in 2017 and you happen to get lucky that it just happens to be the #1 NFT. No one knew anything about NFTs is my point though. The real culture, actual marketing, actual technical analysis or whatever, that's all being done as we speak. So you're not late, right? So if you're too scared to start, just fucking start. Build the Discord right now. You're gonna get 3 people to probably join. They're not even gonna be active. But if you do something that actually is helpful to them and they're like, wait, I wanna come back to this Discord because of XYZ, they will. And they will. And I can tell you that as a fact because they have and they do. And your Discord is insane and everyone loves it. And you never know who's gonna pop in your Discord either.
Yeah, that's a good point. Is think of, if you were an outsider coming into your Discord, what would you want to see? Like you said, have a reason for them to want to be there. Are you having fun, talking about fun things? Are you providing value? Do you have like a list of resources? Like, there needs to be something there that people want. Like, you have to have a reason to want to be there. So that's a good point, is just ask yourself, like, once you make all your stuff, kind of take the perspective of someone looking in and like, what do they get from this? And if it's a whole lot, then you're doing great.
That was a great point. You could not have said that any better. That was the great point. Yeah, the only thing I want to add there is like, yeah, literally what she just said. I have nothing else to add. That was a great point. Yeah, if you can, like, the way I started was I literally was on YouTube saying, why the fuck does all this NFT content suck? Why does all of it suck? They need to make these videos. I can literally make these videos. Then I was like, I'll make these videos. And so I did, and it literally took off, and that's how it's done. But that again came from a long time of observing. I studied YouTube people, studied YouTube trends, studied markets, studied attention for my entire life. And that's the only reason I got to this point. But I didn't have people like me and Sydney telling me things like this back then. Now YouTube is huge and people are telling you how to succeed. So all you have to do most of the time is show up, and most people aren't going to show up. So you're ahead of the curve just by watching videos like this. We applaud you for that, because these are the videos actually that can help you and have real information that can push you towards your goal, versus watching a shilly promotional video about a project you should buy because they said you should when they got paid for it. And so that's a different kind of video. And I think those kind of videos are going to die out, honestly, long term.
Something that's going to help so much is continuing to share your message, continuing to share why you're making the art you're making. Again, take that perspective of what do you look for in artists. When I'm traveling and meeting artists from all over the world, I want to hear their story. If I'm at their little booth and they're selling paintings or jewelry or whatever it is, what makes me connected to their art is hearing them tell their story about where they're from, how their family inspires them to make this, and this. And those feelings that I get from that story, like, that's what I take home with me with the art. And I think that's so important with digital art too. Like, it's even kind of less tangible. So people need that even more, need that connection, need that why, because that's how they're going to feel connected to you and your art. Because a lot of people, they're like, it's just a JPEG. Like, how can you feel that connected to it? But you can if you're connected to the artist sharing their story, sharing their why, their message.
And just so you guys know, the NFT artists I support, which I've tweeted about but very public about if you made them in my YouTube videos, half the time I don't give a rat's ass what the art is. I just like them. I like who they are, and I like their style. I like who they are, and that's why I buy their NFT. Like, a lot of time, okay, that's actually not true. I am picky with art, but even if, for example, if there was an artist who sucked at art but they were so great at everything else, example, VeeFriends, Gary Vee does these random doodles that they're good, like they're fine, but they're not anything like extraordinary for art, but people buy them because they like Gary Vee. And so that's the power of brand. That's an ultra macro example, but there's a lot of artists out there who people are like, this art's not that good. Why are people buying this? Like, what gives you the right to make $50,000 in sales from this simple, like whatever piece of art? And people are like, well, that's not all your value. That like all the value doesn't come from just the art. And so that's something you hit on, I think, really well. And that's a reason that people want to buy your NFTs so bad.
Also, that just reminds me, going off that, I remember when I first started, it kind of scared me to think that, because you can't force art always. So if art comes natural to you, like the idea of making money and everything relying on my art felt so stressful at first, because I was like, well, what if I can't think of anything? What if nothing comes to me? And having so much of your value not come from your art, I think takes so much pressure off your work, and it makes you make way better work, because you're not like, oh, I have to make this because everything is relying on this one piece. It's, no, I'm giving value to this community in all these other ways, and oh, I just got inspired and I can make something fun because they'll also like that. So
something that's really, really important that almost no NFT artists are doing is they're not making a video talking about their story, a full long form piece of content where they say, this is who I am, this is what I'm about, this is what happened when I was a kid or whatever, this is why I am who I am, what my art means to me, what I'm trying to bring into this world. Am I going to try and change the world? What is my why? And so that is going to be a huge factor in this giveaway that we do that I talked about in the first video. We're going to be giving away one side of light, one hand of magic, or hand over the magic NFT that they're coming from my wallet. We're just going to give it to people. It's going to be super fun. But there is going to be a little bit of work on that end. So get excited for that. That's going to be in our live that comes out at some point very soon. And so be ready. We're going to get into full details about it on that live. Also, one really common trend, if you guys have studied YouTube as much as I have, at least that I've picked up, is that YouTubers are weird typically. There's something off with most YouTubers. There's something strange about them. They've got some weird quirk. They've got a weird view of the world or something. And your weird stuff, your quirks, is your strength. It is 100% your strength. When you lean into your strength for the first time, and you think it's a weakness, you think it's that thing you're insecure about, it's your haircut, it's your fucking Twitch, it's your whatever you have, lean into that shit, maybe make it humor, whatever you gotta do, because people like when people are insecure and are open to share about it, because that lets them feel more comfortable, feeling more comfortable in their own skin. And when you're able to lean into your own skin and be proud of who you are, because just of who you are and that you're proud of yourself, pretty much anything's possible. And in this world, it's better to be different. It's better to not fit in, because you can differentiate yourself.
And going off that, look at the space and look at what's needed. Like, I knew when I first started, there was not a lot of women in the space at all, not a lot of female artists making content about their stuff. So I kind of knew that's something that I have going for me. I'm a woman and I can kind of use that. So look at the market and see like, oh, there's not a lot of people doing this weird thing that maybe I can do, and use that to your advantage. Show that. Another thing that makes people connected to you is showing parts of your life that aren't art or aren't NFT related. So like in your Discord, for example, have one channel that has nothing to do with NFT or nothing to do with art that you like and that connects with who you are, because again, that's going to make people just feel more connected to you and like be more with you and intimate with you. Like, I remember you kind of gave me that idea. I had an idea for a channel on my Discord where I like share the things I'm reading, and I was like, I don't know if people will care about that. And you were like, well, it's you know, so they will.
One of the ones that I think everyone should have, and this is kind of what yours is like random thoughts, basically like a public Snapchat story. And this is something I haven't seen in almost any other Discords. And so this is what I do. It's called my random thoughts or something. And it's just stuff I would typically post on a public story for Snapchat, but I don't want to give out my Snapchat because like I don't even go on it. And so I just literally post it there, like random thoughts, random pictures, random videos, behind the scenes shit, the stuff that like you wouldn't know to see. But I think for your real supporters, giving them something that's kind of like a reward for them saying, oh, I really fuck with Cade, or I really fuck with Sydney. And this is a place where like they share like intimate stuff that not everyone cares about. But since I do, this is somewhere I hang out a lot in, and we can really connect on a human level here.
All right, I think that's about it for this video. If you have found any value, give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing to this channel. And I'm gonna take I'm gonna take a play out of Cade's book and do a code word. If you have made it to the end of this video, comment down below, I believe in myself, and start manifesting that. And thank you for coming on my channel.
You're welcome. I'll see you guys all later. Bye.
Peace.